Hello YouTubers, this is Don with Shootwise. Today we're looking at an AR-17. You don't see very much of these. There's a couple of videos out there on the internet. Gun Jesus Ian Forgotten Weapons has done a nice video on them. Certainly he's much more professional at editing and making videos than I am. However, none of the videos actually do a detailed strip of them. Ian goes so far as to remove the barrel, which we will do right now. Ian's already pointed out that this nut is threaded onto a splined extension that is threaded the same on both ends and is reversible. So we'll take this off right here, and then we'll take this extension off. Ian's already, if you've watched YouTube videos on this shotgun, you've already seen this part done. Now, this is a stoner, some people call it a stoner type, some people credit it to the Johnson rifle. I think his name was Melvin Johnson. Stoner worked with him for a while, I'm told. In any case, you have to withdraw the bolt a little bit for the bolt to rotate and unlock from the barrel extension. Common question is does this barrel have a steel liner? This is the choke tube. I measured this choke tube. This choke tube is a little bit more constricted than a full choke, but it's not so constricted that it's a turkey choke. As you can see, there's no steel liner in that, and there's no steel liner in the barrel. This is an aluminum barrel. Magnets don't like it. This barrel extension goes into the aluminum barrel until the forcing cone. The forcing cone is made out of steel. So that'll answer that question. This is aluminum, no steel liner. Set that to the side. We've already seen that done. What we want to see done is taking this thing apart. Before I do that, I will mention that if you want to remove this butt plate, this recoil pad snaps off. There's a single screw right here that removes it. That exposes the buffer tube inside. I have not gotten the buffer tube off, and we'll just set that to the side for right now. To get the bolt out, here's the tricky part. And this is not going to be nice. You have to take a sharp object and rotate the charging handle forward, and it's held in by a detent, and boom, there it all goes. So here's the bolt, and this bolt is missing an extractor on the inside. This actually came into Shootwise, our shop, for repair. The customer did not want to pay to have this part fabricated, but it is missing an extractor, a spring, and the roll pin that holds it in. I am going to try to fabricate a new extractor. It's not exactly the same as this one, but I can use these dimensions right here. Let's see, you get a pokey device here. I can use these dimensions right, focus, these dimensions right here, and hopefully I can cobble together something out of bar stock that'll work. So, setting this to the side, we now have the bolt out, which is further than anybody on the internet's ever gotten this thing. Next thing we have to do is we have to get this bolt out. I need to get this bolt out so that I can bring it with me to the hardware store and try to find a piece of bar stock that is the correct dimension to make this little sucker work. Actually, looking at it, I'm thinking that my piece of bar stock is going to have to be at least as wide as from right here to over here. This dimension right here is, because it looks as though this well, no, this is where the ejector goes. So no, I'm wrong there. Just looking at this thing. So this is where the ejector goes right there. This is the ejector right here. So this extractor is going to have to be this wide. So I'm going to need a piece of bar stock to fit in that little groove right there. And then the carving will begin. So let's get the bolt out. This is assembled just like the bolt on your AR-15. It's just a different size. So we need to knock this pin out, and that pin will reveal our firing pin. Let's get a punch out here and a hammer and tap 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 tap. It's going. Almost there. Oh, we're real close. Put my thumb over that firing pin so that when I remove the punch, it doesn't go flying across the desk. There's the firing pin and the spring associated with it. Now I should be able to remove the cam for the bolt, just like an AR-15. That is, it's a rotating lug, so it's got a cam on something. This cam rides inside of a slot inside of the receiver. Let's see if I can show you that slot. There it is. See it? That slot, this cam rides in that slot, and that's what causes the bolt to make a slight rotation after it travels about 1/4 of an inch to the rear. And there is the AR-15 bolt. Now I'm not going to pull this receiver out. Eventually I'll have to, just to have a look at what kind of spring I need to work here. But for right now, this is what I need to bring to the store with me. Find a piece of bar stock that hopefully I can make a nice extractor out of, and maybe get it to work. You can see where the spring was. See the round? That's where the spring was for that extractor. So this is the bolt. Aha. Very stonerish, or some people will tell you more like a Johnson rifle. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. This part is retained by a pin. There's the detent that holds in the charging handle. You can see it right here. That's what you have to pry back to get the charging handle to rotate forward and come out. I have no need to take apart this buffer spring and buffer assembly. You can see that the buffer itself is plastic. No need to colorize it like the rest of the stock. This linkage right here makes it quite fun to get together. You kind of to put it back together, you got to pull the bolt in, because if you try to push, you'll rotate the bolt inside of the bolt carrier assembly, and it'll lock up on you. So you gotta kind of pull it in when you're reassembling it. I've had this thing apart a couple of times already. So off to the hardware store I go with this. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Take care.